G'day everybody and welcome back to the Hardball Gets AFL show. This podcast is proudly brought to you by the Mazda BT50. You do ute. Today on the show, it's the 6 points leading into the bye round. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. Leave us a rating, leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts and tell your mates. All right, let's get stuck in. This is a Hardball Gets AFL show. My name's Nick Rynne, joined by Xavier Ellis and Jacko Barrett today. What's going on, fellas?
Morning, Rynne.
No, I've got the collar on today, boys.
Yeah, what is going on?
Taking
here?
meetings.
Shoes.
I'm taking meetings.
This polo's got some airtime on this podcast. You've mentioned this. You said you were pretty happy with yourself in it.
Oh, mate, no, I'm happy in any sort of collar.
Okay.
Any sort of collar is my bread and butter. But actually, before we do get into that, I'm starting to... does anyone know a good divorce lawyer?
Whoa, what's going on?
Because Annie Lynn Gone 732@gmail.com has just texted me saying, "How are you?" with a space and a wrong question mark. I heard that yo have your own family.
Hello.
Here's trouble.
Unfortunately, she didn't know about the other family I had when I was travelling around the world and.
Just got another one.
How does that shit pop up on your phone? I've had the same email address since I was maybe 12.
What is it?
What
like
is
a
it?
Hotmail?
Hotmail.
What is it? Can you just wait? No, everyone's going to email. Yeah, what is it? Tell us. Everyone's going to email.
No, it's not a hard one to work out.
Xavier Ellis 69.
No, minus the 69.
Yeah.
Xavier Ellis, dinner for two at hotmail.com.
Also, the laptop's open today. That wouldn't be notes, would they?
That's certainly not notes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. I was worried for a sec.
What's
Yeah,
this
yeah.
bloke been taking?
No, just checking. I'd hate for you to come in here, with some stats or anything.
No.
It
God,
must be
no.
like it's just happened today. Everyone's wearing glasses too. This is going to be very
Yeah.
educated,
What a
intelligent edition of the podcast.
Yeah, except for the bloke producing the podcast who isn't wearing glasses, and it probably explains a lot that he might need glasses because he's hopeless.
He's 40s.
Old Edward Scissorhands on the buttons. He'll be smashing them up in a minute. So apologies if there's any tech glitches, but always good to be here, gentlemen.
So we probably
Hang on, what's going on downstairs before we get started?
190 years of the West Australian. Big breakfast tomorrow.
Morning tea tomorrow.
Come along.
Right.
You can probably come along.
Busy. Would be there otherwise.
It's a big show.
Now, Thursdays, I have... what do I do? I play golf.
Yeah.
Sounds tough, mate.
It's a rough
I
one.
was going to try and spin some shit, but no.
No, that's where you are. So the big news of the week, does anyone want Hawthorn as a point, or should we just have a brief touch on the top?
Well,
Should we just have a chat?
yeah,
Real brief
I'll
one.
throw it in there as my point.
Yeah, okay.
I'll
Right.
throw it in as mine. And then I'll say I've signed an NDA, so I'm out.
No, it's just so I don't know. It came out last night. It's a bit of a non-resolution. It just sort of petered out. It's
Virtually
basically handball
says
to the courts.
if you want to take it anywhere, take it away from us.
Yeah,
Essentially.
and then he's Gil McLaughlin threw a bit of a shot across the bow of Hawthorn, talking about potential sanctions for
Yeah.
bringing the game into disrepute, which Jeff Kennett snapped back on. I would suggest Jeff Kennett's probably best served just to stay quiet.
No, I
in this
heard
type
Jeff
situation.
talk about it. The person who leaked it, there should be a thorough investigation into that, I would have thought.
Yeah,
So I heard Jeff on SEN last week, and he was simply saying that they did that, the investigation or whatever, be it the right way, the wrong way, whatever. But then they are obliged to pass that on to the AFL
Yeah.
so that they didn't have. He was saying that the horse had bolted. Once that information came in that was alleged, it had to go to the AFL under their protocols and practices and whatnot. And he's saying, who knows where it's
come from.
So that's where the doors open for sanctions is around like the handling of that initial report.
Handling the investigation.
the handling of it. I get, yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's really disappointing.
It's a really
the person who leaked. I just would love to know who it is. That'd be massive sanctions. Who sent that out to the ABC?
Yeah.
I think and Gil made that pretty clear. Like that's caused a whole lot of grief in this whole thing. The fact that it was aired publicly so early.
the whole thing has been badly handled from the start.
Yeah,
right?
even the people who have spoken in the investigation after the actual initial investigation.
Yeah.
So quite a few people around the footy club were obviously asked questions, etc. Even that's a bit confusing now.
Yeah. They've been robbed along with everyone else because they don't get any kind of resolution. Like that start of that process, they were envisaging some kind of resolution, an apology or anything towards the end, and they've even been robbed of that because of how poorly it's been handled the whole way through.
Yeah, and Chris Fagan released that statement pretty quickly.
Yeah,
It's worth a read, that statement.
It is.
It was strong
Pointed.
stuff. Yeah.
So he's obviously had signed.
it didn't seem to matter at the end. Everyone was talking. It's like,
Well, so am I in or not?
Yeah, tip in.
Well, I've got no money, mate. Leave me. I can't say anything wrong. I just.
It felt that Fagan statement very, very much felt like leash off.
Yeah,
for him.
it did, didn't it? Absolutely,
Yeah.
it did. So, I don't know. The part away from that now, for two parts, Hawthorn face sanctions. What do you think they could be? And
Well, the draft pick thing is the one that
I know, 100%. That's the. But then and I know it's an organisation, and the current crop have got nothing to do with the prior
Yeah.
people. You just think, gee whiz, if you're Will Day, going like we're building something here, we don't have anything to do with the history of this place.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so sanctions might be coming, but then also the fallout with Clarkson, obviously one of the great coaches of all time.
it'd be interesting to see what happens with him now. Like what?
Well, there's a
whether
reunion.
he's
There's a
burnt
reunion
out.
this year.
What year is it? 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You clearly don't have to comment on this, but that feels like a bridge that isn't likely to be mended. I mean, his comments around
Oh
Hawthorn.
no, I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would suggest maybe if that. Well, it depends who's invited to the reunion, right? If it's just the players and the coaches, well, who knows? And some players.
Well, I think they did something on Easter Monday. Like I think there was a group of Hawthorn players getting together for the Easter Monday clash. It wasn't a premiership reunion, but it was a senior group. I think they sort of caught up for a few stubbies at the game. But it's just a sad for all parties situation.
It's a horrible situation for everyone from the very start.
So does it kick off again now or what?
Well, there's a line in the sort of agreement that was released yesterday that it wouldn't be pursued higher, but then reports suggest that looks inevitable. So, Human
absolutely.
Rights Commission
Yeah.
stuff.
So it's gonna.
And we're
drag
probably
on
out of
for a
our
while,
jurisdiction by getting too
Yeah,
deep
well,
into
yeah,
that.
yeah, I'm not
but,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, no, look, I have a degree in human rights law.
Yeah.
I can just spell out exactly what's going to happen from here. Nobody really knows, except for one thing: it's going to be ugly and protracted.
Well, you think it's been ugly so far. It's been ugly under the AFL banner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's probably going to get ugly under someone else's banner.
Yeah, and people have got to put put more on the line when they go through the courts as well and front up with stuff. So it's going to it's not going to get any better from here.
Yeah. Anyway, move on.
I'll jump into so. Well, you're not. Where are you clapping?
He got the
actually
hit
hit
first
the
button. First button. We're away. Well, we're away.
40's getting the buttons right.
Good to get
What a
off the
day.
mark, eh?
Yeah. Mid-season draft is on. We're recording this on a Wednesday. Is it Wednesday?
Yeah,
It's
Wednesday.
Mate.
We're
Wednesday.
recording this on a Wednesday morning.
Wednesday
Mid-season
mid-morning.
Draft kicks off this afternoon. So the one who's intriguing to me, and this is the way we initially thought the mid-season draft would work. And instead it's just been sort of a stockpiling of players you might have missed out on. We can get an advantage here, get some young guys in. But Sam Naismith, who is 30, turning 31.
Calm, mate. I call him Sam Normsmith.
Sam Normsmith.
That first quarter in that grand final, wow, he was good. I don't think he touched it after that, but anyway.
No, it was a good start. So he's delisted by Sydney at the end of last year. 3 re-Nicos over a 10-year journey. When he played...
Short career for a ruckman.
10 years, yeah.
Mate,
Normally you get
3 knees and they're still re-signing deals for another 5 years. They're still another long term with it.
It's all enough.
Old Marky Pinonate just rolls on in and grabs
Gets
4.
his 4 years.
I'll just grab 4 off
Did
the
we get
shelf.
your
We
reaction
needed to
the
circle
4?
back to that.
Yeah, 4 years from Mark Pittenay. So he's 31 in July, Naismith. But he's a dominant ruckman in the VFL.
Yeah.
So the
Is he
ones
Port
who-
Melbourne?
Port Melbourne. Port Melbourne, one of the only independent ones. Is that right?
Mickey Barlow's Werribee mob.
Oh, they're independent.
Frankston are.
Sandringham.
I think Sandy
the
was
Dragon.
St Kilda.
David comes in
I think
Kilda,
St
yeah.
Kilda. Mick Barlow before is in the standalone, and they're bloody going well. I think they're 4th.
Yeah, you always got to be. You on the standalone.
It's the
career,
Queensland teams eating it up this year.
Yeah.
right? In the VFL, yeah.
Gee
Same
whiz.
as last year, mate.
I'd be really disappointed if the Brisbane Lions won the VFL Grand Final. God give them strength. Undefeated at the moment.
Look at they come. So what are you? So the suggestion is Geelong, and maybe talking to him. Geelong, who've needed a ruckman forever.
Geelong is just a reoccurring problem.
But do they
Yeah.
want a ruckman?
I don't think
That-
they do.
that's
do
it.
they?
What do they want?
Haven't drafted
Yeah.
one, haven't
Yeah.
gone after one.
Well,
too
it would
hard.
be an odd time to go out of their way to bring in a 31-year-old ruckman with no knees,
Yeah,
given that they've just won a flag.
The only
with
thing
no
is they've got. It could only be for 3 weeks. essentially.
Yeah.
So they've got no.
Do they just put him on the list because we can use him for that?
So you've got
Well, there's no Stanley at the moment. There's no
anyone really.
Well, Segler's in there, but like maybe it could be just hey, if something happens for 3 weeks, you play, and then we'll keep in the VFL.
I think I'm right in saying you have to either nominate for a short-term contract, which is 6 months, or a medium-term, which
so
is
WA
18 months.
Buller has gone short-term, 6
Has he gone
months.
6 months?
Okay.
Apparently, yeah, that's what Rhino was saying. I don't get anyone going 6 months.
No, I tell you.
Get the foot in the door.
So Brett Turner at Adelaide was like best player in the Sandful, might have been at Glenelg or Sturt maybe.
Yeah.
Was probably going to win the McGarry medal, plucked out of the league halfway through to not play a game all season for Adelaide.
That's right.
And then got delisted.
That's right. That
Because
was the drama.
his name popped up in the state game a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, I remember him being like,
I do remember that
pick.
drama that they ripped him out of the, and they're like, why would you take? And did he end up?
didn't play a game for Adelaide.
No, but which club did he start state league at?
Oh, I imagine he would have gone to Adelaide.
Adelaide, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't there meant to be a rule.
You can go back for finals.
Yeah, so if
Was
you
it?
get dragged
Okay,
out
so
in the same comp-
originally it was.
So Matthew Parker did that.
Yeah.
6 months at Richmond, might have
That's
played 3
right.
or 4 games, and then played a final. for
Yeah,
South
no, that's
Freo.
right. But originally it was meant to be, and Matty Parker going to Melbourne made that a bit harder because obviously he can't play in
Yeah.
WA.
You had
But
to
it was
play-
meant
if
to
say
be.
it was
So
West
Connor
Coast.
West.
Yeah.
Was Connor West a mid-seasoner?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Connor
West
West was
Perth.
meant to play at
West
Perth, I think, but they came up with an agreement or something
Yeah, that
like
he
that.
would go and he could come
Because
back
in
for
fairness
finals.
to West Perth,
like a loan.
like I don't know.
Okay,
I know
yeah.
the AFL is bigger than
Congratulations,
Ben Hurd.
mate.
Da da da.
That's right.
I don't know what the answer
You know,
is.
you said Brett Turner. You know whose name like randomly popped into my head who I haven't thought about in a while? Joel Turner. Was he and the modern day poets? Was that his name?
Mate, Joel Turner.
Oh, beatbox with Anthony Mundine.
Sorry, mate.
So
That's
left-right combinations at your rib cage.
Look out, we're boxing now. Got a battle on the mic, then we'll knock you out. Yeah, we'll knock you out. Within 3 rounds, MTP Mundine is going to beat you down.
Yes.
I can do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a man, Mundine. You think my rapping's a joke? Well, you can laugh, but I'll uppercut you over these ropes and leave you nose broke. I ain't playing no games. I'm throwing left-right combinations at your rib cage.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's remarkable, fellas.
Come on, Jacko.
My mind is blown.
Mate,
He might have only had 3 streams on Spotify.
I think that's it.
I didn't have my bingo. I didn't have that on my bingo card for today's episode.
Yeah.
so-
Mate,
No,
no, modern day
no.
poets. Wonder what Joel Turner's doing these days.
And Norwich apparently is West Coast option, Drew and
Dropped
Boy.
23 kegs as an 18.
23
Yeah.
kicks.
He
What do you
was
have,
a
a
big
sore
boy.
back or something?
Ate a lot of Pringles.
And his mitts in a can of Pringles, all
Yeah.
COVID apparently.
Was you a big eater?
Yeah,
Ah, good on
apparently.
him.
Yeah.
That was when I turned 18 and discovered booze. I think I put on about 23 kegs.
What about though when you're asked in these interviews? Oh, what's your strengths? It's hard not to sound like a dick when you've been like
I'm
when you're
too
not
accurate on goal.
when you're not
Yeah.
when you haven't been around long enough to go. Oh, look, mate, I just love playing with the team or whatever. I'm an elite kick.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, okay, that's a high
right, mate.
benchmark. Yeah.
We asked him who he models his game on. Jeremy Cameron.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
fair benchmark.
no, it was fun. There are people doing around the draft stuff as well. The actual commentators to the draft,
Yeah.
they got their heads that far up their ass too.
They're about-
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, this could be the second coming of a Dustin Martin. You're
Yeah.
like,
Crossed with.
he's pick 24 for Christ's sake.
Pick 72, plays like Chris Judd.
Also,
Yeah.
He's getting picked up in the mid-season draft.
He's not one of the
Yeah.
first 70 from
No.
6 months ago.
I like the way of doing it is like ceiling and then like
Yeah.
well,
benchmark.
No, so the way I used to look at it was, and just a couple of Hawthorn players on my mind, like a half-back getting drafted. Best case could be a Grant Birchall. 280 games, best and fair, all Australians, premierships. I don't need a 9-time. I don't need Matt Scarlett. Midfielder. Don't give me Dusty Martin.
Yeah.
Give me a Brad Sewell. Again, 200-plus games, 2 best and fairest or best and fairest
Does the
in there.
job.
Premierships. Perfect. That's what you hope you can draft.
Yeah.
You're not hoping to draft 8.
You're not getting Dusty in mid-season
Imagine looking at the draft photo 10 years ago going, there we go. We knew he was going to be Dusty, Jeremy Cameron. Oh, my God, Dan Cox as well. There, well, we nailed them.
Yeah, in the rookie draft. We knew what was going to happen there.
Anyway, move on.
What do we think of the Eagles just taking one pick?
Oh, let's just take another one. Like, what do they
Why
do?
wouldn't you?
Yeah.
What is the reason why not, though?
Well, so Gavin Bell came out yesterday and said, has sort of like clarified AFL rules and basically said it needs to be medically approved by the AFL. But
Yeah.
I mean, in this, they're
They've
stitched
got
up a little
blokes
bit.
who are dead, right, on the list
Yeah,
currently.
Nick,
Like,
in this
how can they not?
situation, so Jamie Cripps comes, so his list is 10 weeks, so he's going to come in for 2 games at the end of the year where they're trying to finish last.
Yeah.
He's going to take this, what's he going to do? Take the spot of a youngster for 2 games, and it means they can't draft.
But again, I know that's shit, but again, the doctors in the AFL are very strict with their...
Yeah.
Like...
You can just kick him down the stairs.
It'd be like doctors, if it needs to be medically approved, they're not fudging it.
Yeah.
And I actually like that. The doctors who just fudge stuff.
He's 8 to 8 weeks. But again, like, that's it. With the 2-week gap, you'd be like, it could be, like, it's very well.
No, I get that. I'm just saying, if it needs to be medically done, I actually like the doctors go pretty.
So that was why they didn't have the list spot. Surely they could have found the list spot, right?
I would have just listed one.
Yeah, someone, you're gone. Sorry, mate.
We're not moving you onto the inactive list. You're just gone.
You're moving to the Wirrapunda Foundation. Yeah, all right, we're done with the mid-season. Jacko, what do you got?
So Freo this weekend, Luke Jackson really, really good without Sean Darcy last week. We sort of flagged on the pod last week how big that ruck battle was going to be, and then it never really happened. They've now got to sort of cover for him again for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I know they've obviously got the bye this week, so it's
and Lloyd
throwing
Meek
forward a
being
little bit.
gone as well now. Yeah.
So the guy that's come in,
They take a ruck in the mid-season.
Well, possibly, I don't think so, but they've got that guy Liam. They've got that guy Liam Reedy. So he played a bit of state league footy. He's 22. Played 3 really good games in a row.
I was going to do a Ryan Daniels pun. I'm not sure he's Reedy yet. You know, Rhino.
Yeah. 7 years.
So do they bring him in an effort to blood a kid and not disrupt the structure too much, or is it? And I'd be leaning towards Jackson. Ruck's 80%, Tracy chop out, and then maybe like a Josh Corbett has another look in the forward line.
That's what I'd be thinking. And I'm a big Corbett man, only because he was such an impressive interview when we got him. He thanked us for the interview and our time, and I was like, man, I'm a Corbett man.
Yeah, he's in.
He played a quarter and a half as a sub.
I don't think he was that bad. The game was just shit.
I thought it was a shit game, but he gave a contest.
Yeah.
He worked really hard. I liked him. I want to see him have another go.
I want to see him have another go too, and I think that's probably the answer. Luke Jackson now. You're really going to be earning your money, which he did on the weekend, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I'm a Sebit quick man. My daughter had to post.
I think he kicked 2 or 3 on the weekend.
He's kicking like 3 a lot of weeks.
Yeah.
And my daughter, she got a Freo poster from school, and I said, "Who's your favourite player?" She pointed at Sebit quick.
Okay, there you go.
It's got to come in.
Get him in. The other thing is, like I remember looking early in the season at time on ground for the 2 rucks, and they were both around like 75 to 80%, which means that it's safe to assume they're never off the ground at the same time. So really, you've only got 2 rucks on the ground for 50% of the game anyway. So you can get away with it.
Jackson rucks 80%, and
Tracy was a backup, wasn't he? He was at the waffle level too.
So who they got? Collingwood, who go Cameron Cox? No, they don't. Collingwood,
Cameron and Cox at the moment.
No. Sorry, they don't play Collingwood. Who they?
Oh no, they go
Richmond.
Richmond.
So Nank
and Samson.
Nank's bloody good.
Yeah,
and big. So that's going to be a tough one.
GWS.
Briggs. That's fair. Go 1-on-1.
And Essendon, Draper.
I'd say they probably hide his back by then.
I reckon it's Jacks. It said moderate though.
It's hard to tell.
Is moderate the 21 day?
I thought it minor, moderate, severe.
Who knows? No, there's no like.
I thought they said
criteria.
4. I thought they said 4, which would be.
I wouldn't think he'd be back by that one.
Yeah, okay.
Especially if they can jar a couple too.
Yeah.
Win them. Yeah. Could drive a truck through those gaps. A little bit of Harry Mackay gear. Carlton, gee whiz, it's been a week for Carlton, hasn't it? Paddy Cripps and sleepovers in other hotels and all sorts of bits and pieces going on there. But right now, so Harry Mackay has popped up in a couple of trade things on Twitter that I've seen. The G-Man did one, which was a bit of a muck around with Harley Reid.
Oh, yeah.
But he's popped up in other ones around, how do we clear some space?
Colvin was still, Jake Colvin, who's made a couple of appearances, was talking to me about this yesterday. I think that contract's unmovable.
That's the question. Is there anyone that would take that contract right now with the yips he's having?
Another 6 years remaining, is that right?
We'll just call it 5.
Yeah.
Is that contract movable at all? I know he's a Coleman medalist. I think he won it in the 50s, though. It wasn't a big year. Is that contract?
Do you reckon Gold Coast might have changed the landscape where someone said, we'll take it, but we'll take that pick too?
Yeah, well, I actually enjoy that. In fairness. I don't know how they got to that stage where they wrapped up.
Jack Bowes and
I don't know how it got to that stage.
I saw there was a story today, one of the those trade sort of around the mills ones, where they said, clubs are looking for a similar deal out of Gold Coast and throwing up like Braden Fiorini. I was like, I don't think they've got I don't think they're going to do that with a Braden Fiorini salary dump. I'm sure he's not on 900.
Wow, who knows what some of those boys are on? Because I didn't think Bose was going to be on what he's on either. But
No, he was a lot earlier, and he was an earlier pick too.
It's one of those ones that they paid to keep.
what
Paid
did
to
Carlton do?
Yeah,
I think they've made a rod for their own back, and they have to just sort of ride it out, right?
They're going to ride that out.
What do you do?
I'm being vindicated week in, week out of these long-term contracts.
Yeah, the duds.
But Charlie's on one as well, so they've locked themselves into a forward line.
Yeah,
I'd rather have Charlie one than
No, of
Yeah,
course you'd
oh,
rather
yeah,
have Charlie
but-
one.
yeah.
Absolutely. But he's only won year 1 or 2 into 7.
yeah.
Good luck. I know, good luck. I remember Chris Main's contract when he went to Collingwood?
3, 4.
For the first year, there was talk about him coming back.
That's right, yeah.
And Collingwood were going to give picks up with Chris Main to get him out. And then he turned that around.
Yeah.
Incredibly. Like, he became
That
a very good
2018
player.
season, he was.
That 2018 grand final didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry, games, did he?
And
100%
tackled his ass
efficiency,
out and whatnot.
yeah.
But it's funny, like, how we can be out on players. Yeah, Harry, I don't think this will happen, but he could kick 5.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen this weekend because he's just in such a bad rut.
Why can't they just just say you pick one thing, one run up this week, and that's all you do? Like, what do you?
Well, that's Stevie Johnson's point was you should be kicking so much away from the game that wherever you take a mark, you don't think what you're doing.
You just know.
You just know what you do in that
Yeah.
part of the ground. It's interesting. Being a left-footed too is hard because they generally get a bit more left to right swing.
Yeah.
I've found.
But you should know.
So
right?
it closes
Yeah.
angles on one side of the ground big time and then the snap the other side.
So who would be a potential landing point for him? Let's say, will someone throw up Sydney? I think that was Carlton said Sydney. What about Sydney?
Yeah, Sydney would, but they've got McDonald and Amadi.
Big,
and I'm a big Amadi
Marty.
man. I'm
Clear
an
it out
Amadi
for
man.
Amadi.
Colf must have read the same thing I was reading on Twitter.
Let's talk about Sydney.
Yeah, it was Sydney. And
Or was it? Maybe it was GWS.
Giants would be a landing point, but then
Yeah.
why?
Well, they just need a key.
Well, they've got the number 1 draft
Cadman.
pick from last year.
Yeah, but if they think like the timing is hard for them because they've got the elements where they should, like they could jump up really quickly.
Giants.
Yeah.
Well, we think that about Carlton.
Yeah, but I would. Carlton's like a long-standing.
Yeah.
We
I
just
deep down.
underperformer.
I deep
Like,
down. I like Carlton. I look forward to seeing what Cripper does after he responded
Yeah.
to those stories that weren't correct.
Yeah.
But I kind of like him losing. I like hearing
Yeah.
the callers call in. And the bloke call in and
There was a compilation.
I went after my wedding. I did postpone my bloody honeymoon.
Yeah.
There was a compilation of 3AW talk back from after Friday night.
I was there.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
So it goes for about 5 minutes. It's amazing.
That's exactly what I want. And I'm sorry, Carlton supporters out there. I actually really enjoy it. I think when Carlton are up and about, it's good for footy.
Well, so
but
we
I mean,
talk-
there's something about them getting their heart broken.
We said last week like they probably got washed away in the massive news week and the fact that like the president's being doorstopped outside the club and
Yeah.
the coach has the full support.
Well,
of the board.
there was a Barney in the change
There
rooms.
was. They haven't
Yeah,
been,
between two board
especially in
members.
Melbourne, but they haven't been missed this week. The Barney on Friday night
Yeah.
and then the Crip staff. It's all
And then I
happening.
think doesn't the chairman have a few links to PwC as well, which is there's tax.
I saw with PwC, they've got a few contracts or something. Is that?
There's a bit of drama between PwC and a bit of fallout from government, like basically an insider trading on government contracts.
Is this an area we should be hanging in?
No, we're probably going to bail
We've done
out.
Human Rights Commission. It's been a big episode.
Oh, Nick just told us into every issue in the world. And now we're going to go deal with poverty in a country in Africa.
Well,
Right,
this
what are we
is
going to
right.
sort out here?
No, here we're going to sort out. And it's fitting the Rhino's not here because he may get a little bit upset at this. And further to Carlton is what happens with Jack Martin. So he has had calf injury after calf injury. He's on his way back to the VFL possibly this weekend. 28-year-old. So 32 goals from 38 games at Carlton in 3.5 years. One season to run on a deal. I think most of it was front-ended. But what do you do with Jack Martin? He doesn't really it's not what they need. We've talked about what they need in that forward line.
Jack Martin is probably like a see you later, or granted he hasn't had a decent run at it, but it's probably that, or it's 200,000 in match payments.
For the next year. But he's got a year to run on a good one. Do they try and ship him? Or?
Sorry. You can't. Again, no one's grabbing that contract.
No one's jumping.
Yeah.
He was so highly touted.
He's
Well,
one
they
who,
gave up plenty to get him from the Gold Coast, didn't they?
No. Gold Coast stood their ground and then he just walked.
Oh, correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he's one, there's a few of them now who were, this kid could be anything, and then he just turned out to be, you're just...
Well,
Whatever.
I don't know if he was given the best shot at it.
No, certainly not. If you're going from Gold Coast at that, probably that was their worst patch between Gaz and Stewie Dew coming in.
Yeah.
It's probably their lost
Yeah,
years.
I feel like you probably don't. He hasn't been. Some players walk in and are given the silver service in terms of how.
Go from there to Carlton.
For
Gold
example,
Coast and Carlton's not the best journey.
Jack Martin, Nick Dacos both came in with massive hypes as youngsters. Nick Dacos has walked into Collingwood, and granted they weren't meant to do what they were last year, but they did. Outstanding coaching staff, facilities, big club, father, son, brothers there. I mean, what an environment to perform in.
Yeah.
Jack Martin, Gold Coast, probably still in the Portaloos. It's a bit of no family, all that sort of stuff.
Clubs hasn't really got its stuff together yet.
Which they're playing good footy now.
And it also tells you something. I mean, we know his potential was high, but that he was one of those 17-year-old pre-draft selections.
Yeah.
Talking about the development of kids in that 18 year. This is why I also agree. I'm in favour of raising the draft age, just because of the development. Just another year, get them playing in a seniors comp.
But some of those have worked out, obviously. Like Jezza would have been one. Adam Treloar was one. Josh Kelly might have been one. Like there are 17-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think there's. It doesn't ever really work out like it should. I don't think.
So it says that he's on 650 per season over 5 years.
I think it was
$3.5 million, but I think it was. I think I could be wrong. He might have been the highest paid player during the COVID year. I remember reading an article about that.
Yeah, potentially.
And then they copped the 25% haircut. All players did, and there's a bit of and this is not fair. Kids helped the club out by front-ending his deal.
And that's where he takes all his
And
cuts.
then you're taking the haircut on your highest part of your contract, not on the piddly little bit that's left over at the end. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
But would any club be interested?
They would. Yeah, I think so. It's got Geelong written all over it.
But not taking on the money for next year.
Not the money.
Nah,
Carlton pay a little bit more. Well, it depends what's left.
I reckon meet down the middle. I would happily take him on board for $300,000. So Carlton can pay $300 or whatever it is.
Carlton probably need to do that because there's not one that is what they need at all.
Yeah, so he's 29 starting next season. That has Geelong or Sydney written all over it.
I think maybe the frustrating thing as well is with the injury history. I don't think there's another role for him. I don't think you're going to be able to turn him into a winger or a halfback.
But I reckon they buggered him by trying to play him too many roles.
Yeah.
Like one of those players that you're given, you'd love to see him in one position and go, here you go, mate, that's your role. And dominate it. But just looking at his stats now, he's had a couple of reasonable runs, like 15 and 4s in there, but hasn't been what we expected from Jack Martin. Absolutely not. But gee whiz, I'd give him a chance if I was one of those clubs.
Just a bit of a look at the intercept markers in the comp because we love watching them.
It's a craze at the moment.
It is, and they're dominating. So Sicily, 43.
To that 10 record. There've been 4 names out of that this year.
And then guys like Charlie Ballard. And just,
so, do you know Charlie Ballard? And this is the interesting part, the Brayshaw Weller trade.
Yeah, so it was Charlie Ballard.
Was the
Weller.
pick.
Yeah.
And that evens it up a little bit with Ballard at the moment.
It's turning into a nice piece for them.
Ballard's turning into arguably an All-Australian defender.
Yeah. He'd be in the mix this year, right?
Absolutely would be.
If he wasn't at the Gold Coast, he would definitely be in the mix.
He's a Zave's Team of the Week defender.
Always.
Is he?
Yeah.
Someone else has got to knock him out.
It's like Josh Dacos on the wing.
Yeah.
It's harder to get out than it is to get in.
So there was a stat going around, I think it might have been...
Harder to get in than it is to get out, whatever it is.
On the couch the other day, that Lever and May have had 2 intercept marks each over the last 2 weeks.
They come around them.
Yeah, they do. And Fremantle's done it really well because they did it really well with Stewart and Radaglia the week before.
Yeah.
And Banfield just sort of making contests and bringing it to ground. They also didn't have an awful lot of pressure up the ground, which helps because that relies heavily on pressure up the ground. But I think maybe a little bit stiff on May and Lever and don't jump off yet because the first one was that wet scrap at Port. And tell me if I'm wrong, but if it's wet like that and you've got like a Dixon and Ollie Lord to contend with, you're probably playing a bit more back shoulder.
Don't jump off the best defensive pairing we've seen in the last 5, 6
No, well,
years.
I just think they copped it.
I'll write it out.
Okay. I'll stick on this one.
They copped it a little bit earlier in the week, but they've played Port and then they've played Freo, who have found a way to handle that sort of thing really well. And I reckon they could absolutely dominate against Carlton.
No, I thought that was going to be the issue for Freo. With Never Miss and Tracy.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they're going to get enough respect from May and Lever, where you need to be respected by them so that they're up your arse rather than going, young man, you're not in the right position. But anyway, bit him in the arse in the end.
That was probably their best game as a duo, Tracy and Amos. I think Amos obviously kicked 3, 1 rising star. I think Tracy might have kicked 1, but took some big clunks.
I love that. We love the kahuna on the program.
Yeah. And the two, like that pairing is really good. I love Tracy down there because every defender's thinking, you have to wonder where he is because he might hurt you a lot.
I tell you what, though, there's two. That matchup's going to be juicy on Friday night. Underperforming 2-star defenders v underperforming 2-star forwards.
It's going to be a good game. It's going to be horrible.
And then I've got another one for you.
What do you?
Collingwood West. Sorry, Matt. I'll head off.
No, mate, I'm all in. I'm all in.
Collingwood West Coast Saturday night. Darcy Moore.
Arvo. Yeah.
I'll make sure I'm there on time. Does Darcy Moore go to an Oscar Allen? Because do they or is it like a Murphy and he rolls off?
Oh, it could be a statement by Collingwood to go, Moore, you've got Allen.
Because obviously that'd be an unbelievable battle. But if Collingwood think they can get away with doing it with like a Murphy, Moore could have like world record pace.
Oh, mate,
15 interceptions.
Who was it? Someone here that said, in an old life, Moore could win a Brownlow. Like his dad.
Yeah. Didn't you say that?
No, someone made the point to me. So and I thought about it. I was like, so athletic, reads the ball. He could just run off and have an absolute field day, but he's too good at like stopping the actual stars. Like, if the rule was you don't have to play on the superstar, he could do anything. Remember he played forward at...
They're drafted as forward.
Yeah, and he played... Everyone's like, oh, he's overrated, he's no good. Then we watched 1.5 against West Coast, and he'd kicked 4 or something outrageous. And I was like, this bloke is unbelievable. And then got injured again. How good is it he's playing good footy? Because he's a good captain. A little bit like Oscar Allen, I reckon, off field. Like they speak well. It's going to be interesting how they do it. But I think that Moore will go to Oscar Allen and it'll be like...
That'll be good.
Righto, game on.
Yep.
Is there anyone around Oscar Allen who's dangerous?
Well, Waterman's got a broken
apparently.
hand.
Yeah.
He's sore. Yeah, he looks sore.
Well, he can't kick with it.
Yeah.
He's had a pretty nice kick. He was shanking him everywhere with that glove on. And you can't take the glove off.
They obviously feel like they need an extra down there. I wrote a column this week on
marriage.
Well, he genuinely comes in pretty quickly, doesn't he? Because if they feel the need to play Tom Barras or Rhett Bazo down there like they did on the weekend, it's got to be Ryan Marich that plays.
Well, and Rotham as well.
Rotham had 2 touches, and Rotham dropped more uncontested marks than he had touches.
He was a bit stiff about the one that went over his head, though. That was a shit kick.
Yeah,
space.
He struggled.
I know, of course he did. But my point being that we're abusing these players for being shit at the position they're playing. Rotham's a backup defender.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
He's not a full forward. I mean, Connor West, when he shoots for goal and he misses
third defender.
At best case, And so, like, when West shanks a couple of set shots, he's an inside midfielder.
You knew he was not the best.
He's an inside midfielder where you can mask that a little bit by playing contested brand.
Greg Clark's the big
on
one
the wing.
That for me. Yeah, so Greg Clark, you take the best.
But there's no other place for him to play.
No, there's not. But you take a Simpson medal winning like inside ball out of Subiaco and you put him at West Coast, you play him on a wing for 2 years, and then at the end of this year they probably go, you're no good, mate.
Do you think he's out at the level though?
I would like him to have a month playing as an inside midfielder.
Yeah.
Andrew Gaff's been playing as an inside midfielder. Why can't that be Greg Clark? Just give him you got to have a look at these guys.
But I mean, if there wasn't the injuries, Greg Clark wouldn't be anywhere near the senior side.
No, correct. But you've got to have a look at him while you're.
All right, I think that's the last point, so we're going to roll straight into
Hardball Bets. Thanks to the Tab app.
Jacko, you're on for Robbo today. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so here's the multi that I've put together while Dave was waffling on about something before, because I got the late caller. Melbourne against Carlton. That's an 18.5 line, so taking Melbourne. Collingwood with giving West Coast a 57.5 head start. I'm pretty confident that West Coast...
I thought about that, but then I thought they might just roll the arm over, similar to last week, although it's still a good margin.
I'm pretty happy with that. And then Gold Coast to beat Adelaide, and it comes to 668.
Oh, okay, right. I've gone a little bit more conservative because I just need a win somewhere. So I've gone Melbourne at the Lines.
Have you guys had 8 correct?
I had 1.
Okay.
2. And I think Jacko put
I've been playing for both sides.
Yeah. And I've gone Adelaide to beat Gold Coast or plus 1. 1.5 heads, 1.5 points head start.
Yep.
This is very much in my wheelhouse, the Gold Coast versus Adelaide game, but that's probably the one I'm looking forward to.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
They're good in Darwin. It suits them.
Oh, Darwin.
Yeah.
Just takes a shine off it.
But, I'm not
Adelaide
sure.
are very close. I don't know. I think you said You don't like the
He'll be worried about.
vibe,
He'll be worried about the camera angle.
slippery.
The slippery. So I hate it. Like the vibe up there is brilliant. I absolutely love the vibe of it.
Just the slipperiness.
It's just when it turns to water, halfway through. Yeah. Anyway,
Bring everyone's skill level down. That's when I shone.
Was it?
Yeah, when no one could kick the ball like me. All right, that was Hardball Bets, brought to you by Tab Touch. Got the touch this AFL season. Better your bet with Tab Touch. Gamble responsibly. Call Gamblers Help on 1-800-858-858. And this has been the Hardball Gets AFL show, proudly brought to you by the Mazda BT50. You do you. See you next time.